All right, enough's enough. This was a good faith call. Enough with the conjecture, the innuendo, Meltzer. We're just out here to get the good word about TSW. Yeah. We're not putting my name on this. But well, I gotta go. We got our press conference live in just a few moments. So make sure you check it out. Of course, the wrap up of the pay-per-view, the King and Queen of the Ring preview. But we'll give you one more. Yeah, one more. Oh? Okay. Z? Is Rock. Yeah, on the record? Never heard of him. Okay. Man, oh man, it has been a week. Check our notes here and get ready for a press conference. Chatty Cathy, that guy, I tell ya. Yeah. Red leather, yellow. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. The Human Torch. What's that? We're live now. We're live already. For how long? So okay. What is up, everybody? We got another hot press conference here in TSW. Of course, a lot to break down. I do apologize, of course, the appearance here, as we'll talk in a little bit. You know what happened to old JG. You know what happened to old JG, ladies and gentlemen. But let's start going to the pay-per-view a little bit, and then we'll dive into the previews for King and Queen of the Ring as well. And I do apologize maybe for a lack of excitement here today. Of course, caught a little bit off guard. Normally we get to warm up a little bit more, but of course we were already live. Awesome. So first and foremost, thank you all for coming through another wonderful episode here, a pay-per-view show of TSW. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, notify building, activate all that good stuff if you love the product. But let's get on into things here, as there is oh so much to dive into on this occasion. So make sure you sit back, relax. Sorry. And enjoy the program as always. So we're gonna try to go in order of the show, though there are certain spots where we'll jump around a little bit more than usual. So kicking things off, of course, we have the BMI Championship, the ambulance match. Hell of a banger, back and forth. And you know, this was one where we kind of weren't sure which way it would go, but momentum has been reclaimed by one Phineas and Herb. Landmark banged up from that match naturally. Expected to miss at least a couple weeks, so we're curious. Will that mean a lack of presence in the King of the Ring tournament itself? Possibly some bad timing there for the former Mr. Money in the Bank and heavyweight champion. But we'll see how things shake out going forward. But of course, Finn right now, of course, a bit of a clean slate in this division. However, remember, Landmark, when he does return, does have his rematch clause. Now, we're going into the Rumble. This was inarguably the highlight of the season so far, if I do say so myself. Of course, Rowdy shocking the world, but also shocking early early elimination there. But of course, Monster in the Bank, it's only a matter of time until he pops that thing open, and very well could be your next heavyweight champion. But of course, talk about the heavyweight championship later, as well as Mecca again a little bit later. Of course, has been a controversy in the entrances to the heavyweight championship. But of course, Rowdy shocking the world would hang out on side the ring for near eternity. And I do pardon, as again, the nature of the day. We're gonna go check out this wonderful stat that our guy Arcane9 got for you here. the War at Wembley Rumble. Bell to bell, 29 minutes, 25 seconds. Rowdy spent a total time of 21 minutes and 33 seconds hanging onto the ropes, which meant for 73% of that match, Rowdy was on the outside of that ring, but he ends up pulling off the upset of a lifetime. Absolutely incredible comeback. Kind of feel bad for Do Not in that situation. Thought he had a bing, bang, boom on to face LPC, and let's just get on to it right now. Another banger after banger from the hardcore champion. Of course, the open challenges will continue, the big challenges across the board, but of course the biggest thing here is Rowdy pretty banged up. Possible neck, his back, his neck and his back. So of course, hoping for a quick recovery. We're hoping to see him this week as we are continuing our overseas tour here, as we are going to be live in Amsterdam. But you know, if there's ever a place where Rowdy may be a little bit banged up, good wrestle, I may be feeling good, feeling right at the local coffee shop there. Of course, maybe, just maybe, we see some Rowdy next week. And of course, speaking of Amsterdam, we're going to go to the mixed tag team Extreme Rules match, and damn, what a battle. Of course, Amsterdam, the root here, the challengers, AJ and Carr, of course, representing Wall Street. The big question, would they win back those championships, become two-time mixed tag champions? But no, Steph and Roldy were able to get the job done, and just maybe not the last time you heard those two names here tonight, as we'll talk later this evening. This show, not this show, this show. And of course, as we mentioned moments ago, the man with the stats in that Rumble. We're going to talk Arcanine. But before we get there, of course, by the way, the mixed tag titles. The big question here, what's next for Kara and one AJ? Are there issues with Wall Street? Will they have more opportunity? I think AJ potentially some opportunity coming, as well as Kara. Again, we'll talk a little bit later on when we talk possibly King and Queen of the Ring. But again, Steph and Roldy looking phenomenal right now. Dominant as can be. We'll see who steps up to challenge, as they've kind of knocked back a lot of the competitors here in that division. But RK9, a fantastic showing here. Looked absolutely unreal. And really, so did Night Owl. Victory and defeat in some regards there. But certainly the Organic family not happy about not only the Pat lost to Arcanine, but now the Owl lost to Arcanine. And of course, we'll jump right into the Trios Championship again. We'll go a little bit out of order on this one, as of course the Dargantics family would face off against the Congregation and would fall. And what a finish there, as all three of the Dargantics family taking massive shots, of course, inside the ring off the barricade, and then the pin at ringside. Rocks, by the way, who would retire with the pin at Mania Luchador. Looking phenomenal as of late. Of course, Trios champions once again, tying Dargantics as a three-time Trios champion. But the question is, who is next in this Trios division? Of course, as it is a clean slate here. And with the men's tag titles, as we go into it, an often trio challenger of the Congregation. A little bit busy, of course, as we're talking the DTs. Cap and Kopak, of course, would be in that Rumble. But the DT's controversy, ladies and gentlemen, as Ched would be up there. They'd actually managed to shake over the ladder, which I was stunned by. But then Ched, 6'9", 420 pounds of girth. And heart. Hung up there for a legitimate lifetime. Managed to not only pull down the championship, but the entire stadium rig. Absolutely unbelievable. Nothing I've ever seen before. But a little bit of controversy there. I think it is fair. Plus, there's a quick match. I hate quick matches. I think it's fair to give the DTs one fair shot at the Voyeurs. No countouts, no shenanigans. We'll see if they can get the job done. Not certain if that's going to be this week or next week, of course, depending on King of the Ring matchups, ladies and gentlemen. But a little bit of the break from the action, so to speak, in some ways more than others. As, of course, the sensation sweeping the nation for the last decade. Grado, absolutely love to see it. What energy Grado brings to the ring. Of course, speaking of energy, make sure you use code JG603 for 20% off all your Rogue energy needs. Refreshing. Unfortunately, Rogue doesn't treat burns, but burned in this match was Grado, of course, coming out looking to show some shenanigans. Of course, the setup to this was Roy Bacon going viral with a dance off from Grado. We thought we had the footage. Of course, Grado wasn't house instead vibe though, not appreciating it. And of course, Wall Street Bacon tied up in a knot right now. Loving you lots and lots. Shout out. That thing you do, and that thing he does. Roy Bacon is making a show. Absolutely incredible entrance, really throwing Johnny Clapp off his game. And I think it showed there between the recent issues with Wall Street starting to build up a bit of a mental blockade. Roy Bacon making opportunities there on pay-per-view and is now a Cruiserweight champion. And I tell you what, in I believe 6 matches, 2 different championships here, about 50% win record, and maybe a run in the Cruiserweight division is on its way for Roy Bacon. But of course, the question is, Clap rematch clause will come in the short term, long term. We'll talk a little bit on again. There's a king to be crowned, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we've touched on it a few times, both verbally and visually. We're talking JG versus Z-Rock Inferno match. Truly a spectacle, unlike anything we've ever seen before in TSW. I think certainly befitting the feud that has been boiling for essentially a year. Z-Rock, of course, intimidating as ever. Truly a dark, ominous force surrounds him at the moment. The intimidation turned up to 11 for the Rocker, and JG couldn't get the job done there. Would be burned literally and metaphorically for his failures in the squared circle of the inner circle. So really so fitting there, as JG likely not going to be cleared for the King of the Ring, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I can confirm that the severe burns across my face and body, we looking like Freddy Krueger under here. We unfortunately will not be a part of the King of the Ring tournament, and that hurts. That hurts. But opportunity will be opened up there for many individuals. An opportunity has been seized by many people in TSW, but few more than Molly McNugget, a phenomenal winning record. Truly one of the best we've seen in recent memories, not only in division, but overall, of course, longest reign in tag history, and starting to chip away at that longest women's reign that Emma had. A phenomenal match with Mrs. Stoney, who continues to improve out there. Of course, beloved by the fans, as the two sweeties voting showed. So excited to see what's next there. Do we see some more mixed tag action, or do we see more singles run? Of course, as Miss Stoney, a shot at the first ever women's Triple Crown. But, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about Mrs. Stoney, maybe the chosen one for the Triple Crown, but the chosen one here in TSW for Wall Street certainly is your new heavyweight champion, LeBron. Phenomenal run since joining the company. Really great feud over the Cruiserweight Championship. Not only Mr. Benjamin, but the man you eventually lose it to. Trios run in there as well, and now a third title on the resume of LeBron. By the way, for keeping track, I know only needs the Universal and Hardcore now, but certainly not a hardcore match, but a hardcore heart from one LeBron there. And as you know, of course, Young 52-0 once upon a time has started to fall and falter as of late. Didn't know which word to use, but really both fit here. You know, I think a long run, a lot of matches, you know, you beat down a lot of people over time, you start to turn opinions in the locker room, and I think right now that's all catching up to the former heavyweight champion, of course, voted wrestler of the year, but certainly a controversial run right now here in TSW, of course, would fall to D-Reg just weeks ago, would now fall to LeBron as well. So the list of people to defeat Young quickly grows. Of course, Finn, the first man, the one behind the 52-1. We had Animal pull it off via cash in, be damned. Of course, Roldy. This is why we should write down everything. D-Reg and LeBron. Is this the fifth? Is this indeed a 5? I believe it is. So a fantastic run for LeBron, but you gotta wonder, has the tread fallen off the tank? It's starting to break down here in TSW. And talk about breaking down. You gotta think both these men have broken down after that main event. We're talking about an hour of action. I should have gone and checked the timestamp for this thing. An hour of action, we're calling it. 3 stages of hell, absolutely unprecedented. LBJ would shock the world, winning the first fall. I think Raw maybe came in a little more lackadaisical, maybe taking a little bit off his game, of course, typically playing an away game, so to speak. But this time more than ever, as of course the hometown boy LBJ had all the momentum going into this thing, would take the first fall, but ladies and gentlemen, the second fall, Raw would take it back in Extreme Rules fashion and truly a beatdown in that second fall. It almost felt like the first fall very 50-50, but the second fall felt like Raw truly came into form. And the first third of that third and final fall, Hell in a Cell, was very much so the same case. So, certainly one to remember. Of course, that kick out towards the end, the comms band kick out by LBJ, shocked me. I was quite literally speechless as that pinfall was happening. I thought it was over. Of course, sometimes a little bit of bias here in the booth, and certainly a bias against the dastardly Raw Dog, who I have feuded with in the past here in TSW. And I feuded with LBJ, but of course a true shared camaraderie and respect over the Cruiserweight Championship back then. But what a rematch, but of course, or what a match I should say, but of course, Raw has a rematch. But will it be next week? The week after? I'm not so certain, as ladies and gentlemen, the King of the Ring tournament is on its way. Queen of the Ring, first ever here in TSW. So exciting times. We're not going to give you the whole bracket, the whole list of competitors, but we're going to give you a quick breakdown of what that's going to look like, as we got a quick schedule coming up over the next couple weeks. Let me bust up the handy dandy calendar here. Of course, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th of June will be standard TSW shows. Of course, we know it's going to be Amsterdam. Not certain the show after that, but we will be back in the States the 25th, leading to Great American Bash, 4th of July weekend in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., of course, naturally. Where else could you possibly be for that show? So the next 3 weeks, you're going to have a lot of qualifiers, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to, in some regards, repetitive in terms of, we got 3 weeks. We got to get this tournament knocking, because we're going to crown, hear me out? We're going to be crowning the King and Queen of the Ring at the pay-per-view. But that will not be the end of the night for those competitors at the Great American Bash. No, indeed. As both King and Queen of the Ring will be challenging for their championships that night. So the finals and the championship match will be occurring that night. So we'll see how things shake out, of course, as the bracket continues to take form. We're not going to have the bracket here, but we are going to give you some of the competitors. Of course, cards subject to change, as always. But these will be locked in on the bracket mentally. Not again. I don't want to give the matchups yet. These are some spicy matchups, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. So, we have a couple obvious ones, a couple pre-announced ones. But before we start announcing, folks, a little housekeeping here. The men's King of the Ring will have 24 total entrants. 8 triple threats across 2 weeks to decide the first round. From there on, it is going to be singles matches until we crown an eventual king. The Queen of the Ring, naturally, bit of a smaller division, and they're going to be really earning these matchups, as it's going to be 8 women, and it is going to be only singles matches. So that is going to be absolutely critical to make sure every opportunity is seized. No excuses of, oh, I wasn't in the ring. No, you're earning this, ladies and gentlemen. Also, again, women's will have some champs in there because, of course, division. But for the men's, while the tag and trios champs have a chance to be in the King of the Ring, if you're a singles title holder, you will not be in the King of the Ring. Only reason is because you already have a great situation, great opportunity, and I think the King of the Ring, while the heavyweight championship is certainly bigger than the hardcore, the cruiserweight, the BMI, universal on paper, I would say. We got a lot of folks out here, you know. So to be fair, I think it makes the most sense to do that. While I certainly think they all deserve a shot at this, and maybe I could have put them all in one match or bracket, I think it makes the most sense to take out the singles champions from this situation. Now, however, LBJ is the defending King of the Ring, so he will be in this year's King of the Ring despite being Universal Champion. Ched, former King of the Ring and tag champ, which is okay, will also be in the King of the Ring, looking to become the 2 different 2-time King of the Rings. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting as we start to break down the rest of our confirmed entrants for both King and Queen of the Ring. Now, Queen of the Ring a little bit tighter, so we'll do that first, even though we did start on the men's side a little bit of back and forth here. We have confirmed Emma and Steph for Queen of the Ring. We will also confirm Bama and Mrs. Houdat for that tournament, as well as the return of Huggies in action. Big opportunity right there, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, a couple more spots there, but we'll leave a little bit of excitement for you. But let's get back into the men's side of things to wrap things up today. Again, appreciate you all for coming through. It's been a fun one. So we have some people who we announced during other shows that we just kind of want to housekeep real quick on. We can confirm in the King of the Ring, of course, Ched LBJ. There will be Dargantix, as Dargan is a part of the King of the Ring. And, you know, we got to put him in there. We're putting Tony in there as well. So a couple Dargantix family members will be in this year's King of the Ring. But of course, so many factions around here in TSW, and none more dominant right now than Wall Street, ladies and gentlemen. Phone them up, and they're going to have a big presence in this King of the Ring tournament. Of course they are, because they buy their way into these things, you got to think. But we can confirm right now, after the title change, Clap will be in King of the Ring. Bacon, if he hadn't won the Cruiserweight Championship, had probably had a chance of being in this, but of course, that will not be the case now. Speaking of championship changes, meaning possible switches, Finn probably had a great shot at this, but of course his BMI champion landmark is shelved at the moment, so neither of which are in this tournament at the moment. We can also confirm some other champions in here. As new Trios champion, leader of the congregation, hold up a Fendler Minute, is in the King of the Ring, and they have been nuclear hot. Will that continue? We also will have Roldy, one half of the mixed tag champions. Yes, indeed, a couple champs in there. But of course, we mentioned Wall Street, we mentioned Clap. That's not the only Wall Street members in this King of the Ring, as we can also confirm. Vibey Boy, the face that runs the place, will indeed have a shot to become King of the Ring, as well as the enforcer of Wall Street, D-Reg, will be in it as well. So this is already girthing up in a big way, and then maybe on the outside looking in, but to our knowledge, still firmly aligned. And you got to think with King of the Ring here, you'd be foolish to make any moves right now. We're talking AJ, of course. AJ, former Universal, former Hardcore, former Tag Champion. Only thing he hasn't won is that Heavyweight Championship, as he is not in the BMI or Cruiserweight division. So, while not the 5 Grand Slam, a possible Grand Slam opportunity on the table there. So opportunity is the key here in this one. And we'll give you a couple more big time names, and we got to have big time in there, big time opportunity. As much as I have had my differences with him, he's a hell of a competitor, former heavyweight champion. He has the shortest reign in TSW history with that title. So you gotta think that he is looking to make right and become a 2-time heavyweight champion. Gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Looking to be 2-time heavyweight champion as well. Boxy, of course. Imagine King Boxy, how beautiful that would be. Boxy will be in the King of the Ring tournament, and we'll give you one more. Don't want to give you them all. It's about halfway. It's about half the field right there. I do reckon. I'm kind of bouncing around my list, to be honest with you. But we'll give you one more as we wrap things up here. One more for King of the Ring. Of course, we mentioned singles champions won't be in this. Title change, though, benefited some more than others. But after a war at Wembley, we can confirm that the former heavyweight champion, first ever winner of the Royal Rumble, first ever main event winner of 603 Mania, Raw's gonna kill you. And business has just picked up in the King of the Ring tournament, ladies and gentlemen, as will we see King Raw and the Dog Pound take over TSW. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we had for you here today. I gotta go get some burn cream and ointment on, maybe a fresh set of bandages, but I appreciate y'all, except for Z-Rock or whoever he may be. Fucking Meltzer. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, notification building, activate all that good stuff. Y'all the best. Y'all been too sweet, and I'll see you next time. Woo. Appreciate you. Bye.